Heavenly Tears, hello, hi. So this is part 2, and I just want to ask something of myself, my soul, spirit, collective, about astrology and the reading I got the information about on Saturday. So let's see. I don't really want to close my eyes. Interesting. Okay. So I received information in parts from Andrea. And I had a nice chat. I love talking to people. I really enjoy it. And yet, when I went back to process that video, there was some strange things going on for me. And one of them was this issue of the water. So she said that in my chart, there is a lot of fire and a lot of air and not much water and not much earth. Now, that doesn't sound like me because so not much water is associated with non-emotionality. Now, I have my moon in Aquarius, which means I have that being ability to distance and observe and witness emotion. So I can almost see it and move away from it at the same time, which makes me a brilliant teacher of emotion for acting, etc. But she was saying that I don't have much water in my system. And I thought, there's something wrong with that. Also, not much earth. I'm always working with the earth. So you could say, okay, well, that compensates me not having much earth. I'm very floating, creative fire into the cosmos, getting my information. So I need to be in the earth to be able to replenish. But the water thing, there's something wrong. So the astrology is really, really good for a snapshot. And then what it is, if you go and live in fear, you're going to shut down your child anyway. If you have a brilliant astrological chart of your child and you live in love and adventure and openness, and you encourage spiritual alignment, because that's what you practice, then your child will be able to shift and change and move through it. This is very important. So maybe it's a blessing we haven't had them in the schools yet, because in our system of matrix control and hardened system, it would have just put another label, like people get the label dyslexic or ADHD or some kind of learning disability, and then it stays on them forever. And it conditions their mind of what you can do. It's like having a disabled badge. You're always disabled. I know a lot of people who have money from the government all the time because they've managed to establish an illness, and it means that they can live out of the normal societal expectations on a tiny income, but they can. But are they really opening their spirit? Are they really opening into all of themselves? Because they're staying very safe. We're all staying very safe in this system. So there is a danger of giving the astrological chart and then the parents kind of just staying in it. So yes, it is a tool. It is a really good tool. It is an interesting tool, and it opens our awareness to things like the balance of elements and why certain people might interact with others. And you can see strengths and potentials. But hey, don't use it as a limiting system. Don't use it as a confining system. That's always the thing. And we, as a child, I belonged to the organization Subud through my family. And it was about exercising your soul through you, first clearing all kinds of energy you might take on, and allowing your soul to come through you, to just have contact, to know that you have a soul through meditation, not in any way directed meditation, just you in a room, quiet, allow me to receive. That's it. Okay. But the reason I'm telling this story is I saw those adults in that group organization, tens of thousands of people around the world in and out of that organization, jump onto the teachings, the lectures, the talks of the man who started spreading it. They became recorded and transcribed and put into books. Wonderful. But all of those members, they just grabbed hold of this stuff and lived according to that, instead of lived according to their soul expression. And he was always telling people to do that. but we just want to hold on to this complex because we've been born into a matrix. And from very, very early on, we've been taught that control structures are good. You go read parental books that you must feed at regular intervals. You must put the child to bed at regularity is the thing that they need. It's like, really? Who told you? How do you know? I don't get regular hungerings for strawberries. Do you? If I run in the morning, I might need more water later on or more protein. There's nothing regular about life. That's the matrix. Ha ha. So, astrology, yes. Don't let yourself be entrapped in it. It's the same thing. It's like tarot cards. Really useful things. But they have meanings to those cards that are accepted. You've got brilliant people like Tarot by Janine or Ashley Sage who kind of open up the meanings. But if you let yourself be, you can be shocked and scared by some of those tarot cards. And it's only the few people who've kind of opened up the meaning and looked beyond the surface image who are able to take the energy, essentially an energetic presence, and allow it to represent different things. That's a completely different level of reading. That's very spiritually infused. And the danger is that if you just use tarot cards and you're just confined into that meaning, you can really compress yourself into some quite fearful expectations. So like all these tools, yeah, every tool, use it for expansion or use it for contraction. So all the things that I show, all I'm doing is I go into a zone within my experience. Right now, I could have gone and closed my eyes and gone and looked. I didn't want to. I want to look in the camera and talk to you because I'm in a flow. And a creative flow is also, it's my spirit talking, isn't it? I'm sitting on my own after all. But the tools I teach are just a zillion different ways to be in contact with that inner voice, the inner self. Hearing it, seeing it, you can draw it out. You can go into different meditative states. I talk to different essences within my spirit. I talk to my beloved. Sometimes I get an object. I read from a book, one that doesn't exist on this plane. Or I can just go and meditate and just allow beautiful different levels of energy to download in me. And I'll just state my intention or command my intention. I command prime creation, give me a glorious influx of pure love energy. And as soon as I say that, my hand, as soon as I was thinking it, my hands start to tingle. And it's like, the energy just expands. So there are so many ways to do it. I'm here to inspire, inspiriting, to enliven and encourage. And you come to me, when you work with me, it's the same thing. I'm always throwing questions out. What do you think of this? What do you think that could mean? This is what I think it could mean. But what do you think it could mean? And even that, highly influential, but I only will do that if I'm not getting anywhere. If there's too much fear to allow the process to come through, but there are many, many playful ways to allow the information to start to come out. Storytelling, etc. I go on and on about this. But we need to understand that we are unique beings. And okay, there's a very, very clever system of astrology. Let's use it. But do not let yourself be stymied by it, imprisoned by it, fixed into it. If you are someone like me who, since forever, has set spiritual evolution as my goal, I would have come in with a certain stamp into this earth for this incarnation with that astrological moment of alignment, with the intention of, I know what I want to do. I want to be a wonderful, living, vibrant exploration of humanity, what it is to be a woman, to be a female, to create, to the idea of family and home and education and learning, this natural being on the planet, bring back the Eden. That's me. So it's obvious I'm going to have some of that stuff at the beginning. And my spiritual essence is going to pour through and use it, carve it, shape it. Okay, thank you. Lovely. Comments below. Contact me. You can just do it in the comments. And I will sometimes answer in the comments, or we can talk wherever wherever else you want to. If we're going to talk for a long time, you'll probably have to give me some money for my time. Book an appointment, probably the best thing, as is respectful for all people. But that's the way it is. I'm here doing my work. You can get hold of me through this. I always put links in all the descriptions. And let's just go on this journey, discovering, opening, activating our human potential, being more fully what we are, and therefore, boom, changing reality. Yes. Because we won't accept anything that is no longer in resonance with us. Okay. Bye. I am Dr. Isabella M.A.
So we are in the Aquarius area, so we are trying to move from the matrix and away from the old things, old system, and create the new. And this is the way to create the new, to create a real. I think the world will change if having real family connections. So that is the core of the society.
This is where I'm absolutely focusing now, because it's all very well to talk about the new schools and etc., but we've got to start with what is a man, what is a woman, or what are the parents, and then how might you want to conceive your child, or okay, you've now got your child, how do you want to perceive your child?
Exactly.
And then that's the power from which everything, because that's where the love, that's the only place the love can start or end and spread. And if you don't have that adjusted, what are you going to do? And if you do have it adjusted, then it ripples out like pure radiation of the best kind.
And I was going to tell something also. Sometimes, possibly, we can have relationship between your children and the parents. A very something that you said, but my children, I don't have that connection. Well, it can be a soul learning from the past experience that you have to learn. But not everything is nice and beautiful, and so maybe your parents came to this life to learn to teach you something, and in a very smooth and nice way. But as long as you know it, that it's a lesson, and we need to see it from another perspective, another way.
Yeah. I was talking, as I mentioned to you earlier, to my neighbour last night, just sitting on our lawns as the sun was disappearing for about an hour, and turns out he's Scorpio, and so I was talking about my youngest, enormous, very beautiful, tall son, who's 26, who was the most adorable, oh my God, he was just, what a child, he was just perfection. I just, love that child. And then he was stolen from me in our horrible, scary divorce that I had. And as a result, he went and adopted himself to another family. Interestingly, that was his way of escaping from that. And now we've got to a place where he knows I love him, and I know he loves me, but he's not yet ready to kind of integrate me. But we were talking about the Scorpio, because my neighbour is Scorpio. We were talking about it like a closed spiral. The emotions get closed into a spiral. And for a Scorpio, because they feel things so intensively, you have to slowly open that to release sort of layer by layer. And that information, I understand that about my beautiful boy. I know. And so it's like the foundation is being prepared. He now knows I love him. And the rest is just going to be evolution. But that's important.
Exactly, because Scorpio is a transformative planet, so depends the consciousness of the person. Scorpio can be an amazing transformative planet, sign, but depends where you are. So if you are at the low level, you are jealousy, everything is going against you, and you've been hurt a lot, and everybody wants to hurt you, and everybody, that's Scorpio at basic level. And Scorpio at a higher level is the opposite. It's the person who wants to learn about themselves, wants to grow.
He says of himself, sometimes he slightly scares himself because he knows that if he asks someone to do it, they will do it. Anything. His own charisma scares him sometimes.
Scorpio is the power.
Yeah.
Power.
And as a child, he always had the ability to just, in the right synchronistic moment, to say, I want that, or I would like that. And it was every time possible to fulfill that desire. There was no difficulty, it was always ease, whereas his two siblings, his beautiful sister and brother, you know, amazing children beings in their own right, but they didn't have that pathway he had. He just had to literally state it, and it opened up and happened. Which is really interesting.
I believe that because wherever you have Pluto, is power, is money, power, government. For example, I use I call it transpersonal astrology. So I can see the elements in your chart. So you have lots of fire, lots of air, a lot of yang energy, and very few yin energy, which is in water you have Mars, which is the male energy. So when you have it literally in one element, you're trying to balance your chart by attracting that you are lack of. So that can be another reason why you want to have the other one.
Yeah.
Balancing your,
Yes, it's the idea, even interestingly with my man and myself, numerologically, I'm a 6 and he's a 4. Put those together, you've got the 10. And my son, who's got his 2 little babies now, his wife is a 6. So, you know, the materialization, she's an amazing mother. And he's a 10 and both the children are a 10. It's fascinating. So it's almost like his desire has brought her to him to be able to manifest. He always wanted family and children. And that's just another tool, of course, as you know.
Yes. I'm not a numerologist, but I always, I design a little PDF that I frame, and it has your chart, your sun, the moon, ascendant, your life path number, and your Chinese animal. Because for me, that represents your soul. That's who you are. And then you can based on that, you can create whatever you want, and you can live your life without judging others, without blaming others, and being more responsible about that. This is your soul and I purpose, and that's it.
Water, I think, is interesting. What do you say about this? So I use this metaphor of, the way water can find a route around any obstacle. And for many, many years of my life, my negative emotion was frustration. So there's my fire and all this innovation. Just like, excitement, idea. Present it, block, big stone in my path. But the water, now I understand that it might be a trickle only of energy that gets around that big stone in my path, but the water will always find a way around it. Now I found that. So it's like, okay, maybe I don't have a whole river of water to wash this boulder away. Okay, I don't have it, right? But now I understand that if I let this water pour through me piece by piece, it will find its way through. And so, when I work with children, it's always about allowing their imagination to come through, which is, of course, their spirit talking through their mind. And they give these stories and this information about what they want to explore, the characters they create, improvisation and storytelling. And of course, they're always talking about themselves. The revelations are always there. We just have to learn to listen and to take it seriously, to hold it with wisdom and love and compassion and non-judgment.
And let them be, because that's another good thing about astrology. You are not stopping them from being, because you think that you should do this because the society or because whatever. No, I mean, let them be, and then they can really be crazy. They can really be who they are.
This is the true freedoms. We've come all the way back. I have a feeling you've got a very clear vision of, let's just say 12 years from now, how you would like your work to have materialized into the world. These visions we've talked about integrating astrology into our life. How would you like to see that be?
I would like to bring this to schools, that every single teacher knows the chart of the pupils. So she knows how to interact with them in a natural way. Let them be, again. And so, that will be we can create an amazing world by doing two things. Into schools, parents knowing the chart of the children, we can know in advance who's going to be a leader, maybe a good leader.
So I talk about learning environments and prepared learning environment, and you know from yourself and people you've observed that we all learn in different ways. Some people are kinetic learners, some people are able to just literally copy something into their mind, some people have to do a mixture of many synesthetic experiences to get the experience integrated into their system. If you have this chart, you would know how to prepare the physical environment as well, wouldn't you, in a learning space? Would you say that will influence your ability as a teacher?
Yes and no. Because I don't think we should, how can I say, push things that we think is going to, because it's going to work in that way. I would be more like a trial and error and try to flow with the things instead of pushing, because who knows? Maybe we try to do our best with a good intention, but maybe we are stopping the person from actually making a mistake, and that mistake making growth. So,
this is such, I wanted to ask you this because it's such an important ethos point of the learning that I know is what we need to do. Because we have to give people an idea of what we're talking about, something different. But people are so used to having structure. It's got to be like this, and there are 10 rules to it, and everyone does it, and that's nonsense. So, the nearest I can get is resonance, experiential resonance learning in a prepared environment. But what does that mean? And what you just described is, yes, okay, understand all these children in front of you with their tendencies, prepare as much as you can of offers, potentials, possibilities, and then let the experience, the interaction, this constant flow be your new mining of knowledge. So there's never any stop to it. It's a constant flow of shift, change, adaptation.
Absolutely. Yeah, because we are not God, and we cannot tell we are doing the right thing. No, we do it from our heart, trying to do the best. But that's life, Life is always evolving and always changing, and so we cannot stop that, And but these two at least give the parents an amazing thing to know, because many parents, they are trying to guessing, guessing. So stop guessing, and for example, in my case, my parents thought that I needed a psychologist because I was too shy. But I have my Saturn in the first house, which creates limits. So when I came to England, Mercury is close to this part of the world, so my communication started improving.
And you gave yourself a challenge, because to come from Colombia with a beautiful kind of friendship and saying hello to everybody, and then we're a little bit more closed here, and then you had the language barrier, but even despite those things, it helped you to be here to overcome that deficit. Isn't that fascinating? So that's almost, what's it called? It's astrogeography, isn't it? Astrocartography, that's right. I remember I had that done once. Yeah, that's another aspect.
So so that gives you another tool to know where is the best place, actually the best place to live, or the best place to explore something in your personality.
that's another entire ethos of education, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, you have all these beautiful young teenagers, they just finish their A-levels and they want to go abroad and have some experience. And probably if you mapped their choices, it would match entirely to their child. Like my daughter, 28, now she could be a judge if she wanted to be. She's done 10 years of legal training. She's now having a job made for her. It's international. She loves traveling. She's crazy. And she laughs at me that I love to be at home. I said, why don't you want to travel? You know, she would just go wherever she can. But if you did her, if I asked you to do her chart, you'd probably find that, and even you would find, I'm sure, spots on the globe, well, on the planet, which have given her information. She took herself to the Lebanon and worked there for a year. And she used to joke with me, she said, yeah, well, you know, everyone was so full of joie de vivre because they knew that they could be killed in 3.5 minutes if Syria launched their missiles. So the level of intensity, enjoyment, food, music, dancing was so extreme. And it was as though she needed that after the dire shut-off experience she'd had in that kind of desert time in her childhood when she didn't have me with her. And isn't that amazing? You know, these things, the way the child, the soul will seek out. But with this, having this framework, it just makes it a little bit, it's like having a map to get from here to back home. It's having a map.
That's the word, it's a map. So you do whatever you want with your map.
This, knowing, say, my astrology, gives me the points to ask. Because unless you have the questions, it's very hard to get the answers. If you have a clear question, you can ask it of your own spirit. So say you have a vision, like yours, right? And there are infinite ways you could approach that vision. But you could go back to your chart to find information of where to put your energy into developing that vision. Could you talk about that briefly?
We use the solar return. So the solar return is it doesn't my program does it for me. So this year I can't remember. I can't remember. Anyway, the sun, wherever your sun is this year, for example, is in the 5th house. The 5th house is all about creativity. It's about everything you create. It's about children. It's about creating a new company, a new book, whatever you want to create. So the sun is in the 5th house this year. You have the planets are helping you to put all your energy in that. Whenever if you have a project, the planet will help you and you will achieve much easier what you want in that year.
And that's a timing thing, isn't it?
That is a timing
We're taught that the white hats have been using, well, we know that all sorts of secret societies have been using astrology for a long time. All the big guys use it because they understand it's not only a trajectory, but it's a timing thing.
Exactly. So the time is crucial. So, for example, when I want to have, I'm going to make important decisions in my life, I see my chart. For example, Mercury. If I want to sign something, I don't know when Mercury is retrograde because something is going to happen. I mean, so yes, the timing is very important.
For me, with admin, I don't really like administration and this sort of. When I'm dealing with authorities, so-called authorities that I know are actually corrupt, like the tax man, for example, all of those, I will feel my way into it, and it's like, no, not this day, not this week, no, yes, and then I love doing it, and it'll be a 2-day, usually 2 to 3 day moment. I do the whole thing, loads of letters, various, all sorts of authority situations in that 1 meeting session, and it feels breezy and fun, and then it's done. And that's another proof. So is that, I feel like this is probably, look, it's an hour and it's lovely, exciting. I might divide it into sections, but okay. Is there anything else you'd like to put on the record?
Not really. I wish, I mean, because I want to help people. I always been, since I was little, my family used to help everybody. I mean, I was broke, and I want to live in a beautiful world. Really, I mean, I'm building that, the new system, the new earth. So I want to contribute with this astrology to the world and make the world a better place.
And do you think, because this ties into something that's buzzing around in my mind too, sometimes, I think about the energy of England, I think about the energy of the United States. These are for me the two places I'm considering to be in. And sometimes I think, is it actually possible to seed this kind of information in the UK, or is it only possible in America? And so far, it's felt to me only in America, even though there's so much broken in the United States, in the people, and yet that pioneer. All of the American Indians, and goodness knows what went on before that too, because it was layers of other beings there. And then the pioneers, it still has that ability to break through into new ideas. But here we are today in Totnes, which has preserved or developed that ability to take and nurture an idea and bring it into fruition. So perhaps there are some small pinpricks of places we can seed the idea. How do you see your vision? Can you see it like seeded here and then spreading, or have you got any kind of geographic limitations or locations you perceive?
That's a very wide question. I mean, England is Capricorn. UK is Capricorn.
Of course it is. Oh my God, yes. No wonder my ex-husband did so well in England and terrible everywhere else. Capricorn.
United States is Cancer. And if I should move closer to Bristol, which I want to do that, because the Mercury is closer to that part of the world, and for me, the communication and the message is going to be easier to give it to the world, I think that's I don't know if in England.
University course at Bristol, wouldn't that be amazing? Part of the teacher training. Oh, I like it.
I mean, especially the youngsters that they are just starting to live the life. They're going to explore the life after they finish university. It's the perfect time to give them another tool and a message. Look, this is your mom. So yes.
Cancer, America, that's where we thought they were teenagers. It's a beautiful, nothing limiting about teenager, but the freedom of the teenager and the rebelliousness and the questioning of authority. That's why we need the United States to lead us. It's that, hello? I'm not going to put up with this. And they're awakening. I don't know why that's been asleep. It's been killed and suppressed, hasn't it, for so long in the United States. People have been so poured in, there's poisons poured in from every single angle to keep that hidden, and they're starting to shake that off. Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much. It's just delight. We tried twice online, and it's much more fun in person anyway. And you're only an hour and a half or 2 hours or whatever it is away from me. It was just complete delight.
Thank you, Isabel. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Andrea, Quintana. Maybe we'll be hearing a little bit more. You're going to join in our panel as well, aren't you? On the 26th of July. Yeah.
I love you.
Thank you.
You're amazing.